Welcome everyone to Will's Music Show, episode 2, I guess. So today I actually have a special guest. He's actually my best friend, Jordan. I'm going to have him on the show. We're going to talk about Nickelback's best album, All the Right Reasons. It's from 2005, so we both kind of got into Nickelback there. Around the time that this album was very popular and just came out, so I'm very excited to have Jordan on the show today and just talk about that and reminisce, if you will, about it. So without further ado, welcome Jordan to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
How's your day going so far?
Oh, it's not too bad. Just recording some good stuff about Nickelback, one of the best bands in the world, next to Good Charlotte.
All right, sounds good. Just to give you guys a bit of a background, so I was 13 when this album came out, and Jordan was 12 because his birthday is later on in December.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it came out in the fall of 2005 there. The first single, though, Photograph, actually came out a few months before that. So right before we were about to start school, actually. It came out in September. So I don't know. I fondly remember that single basically coming out just before school, and then I think in October and stuff, just before the album came out. I can't remember which field trip it was, but there was like a field trip that I got to go on, and I remember like listening to that song multiple times on that trip. So I don't know, like what kind of memories do you have just before like that album was coming out and ramping up to it?
I can remember it was 2005, so that would have meant we were going into grade 7. Honestly, to be real honest with you, I remember originally hating Photograph.
What?
Just because it was just so, I just remember hating it. I don't know why. But it just, for some reason, it just had a rough taste in my mouth every time listening to it. Maybe because it was just overplayed, and I don't know, I just didn't see the concept of him in the music video walking into the school and everything like that. It just wasn't who I was at that point. So as time went on, I guess I started coming around to more of that song. But that was probably at the beginning of listening to this album that song was probably the worst ones I thought on the album.
Wow. All right. I didn't even know that. That's interesting. So yeah, like, I'll just give you guys a bit of a background basically about, the album, in terms of, what the singles were and, the awards and stuff like that. And then, we'll just kind of talk about, the songs in general and which ones we liked the most off the album, and if we had some favorites basically at the start of like when the album came out, and then after like to now basically what our favorites would be. So yeah, just to give you guys an idea of how big this album was and still is for Nickelback. Like I said before, it's their most like critically acclaimed album. Had 7 singles on it, which is ridiculous because the album only had 11 songs on it, so that's like over half the album right there. So yeah, it had Photograph, Animals, Saving Me, Far Away, Rockstar, which kind of was like 2 single life cycles, and we'll get into that later. If Everyone Cared, and Side of a Bullet. I don't know, which one do you remember probably hearing the most on the radio, like out of all of those?
Probably gonna go with either Far Away or If Everyone Cared. That was 2 popular ones that I remember hearing on the radio a lot.
Yeah.
For the most part, out of the 7 tracks of the album was a lot of Far Away and If Everyone Cared. I mean, I heard Photograph too, like I said before. Just that's why I hated it so much. But at the same time, I would say those would probably be the top 3. I heard on the radio.
Yeah, I don't know, like that for I don't know. I mean, I heard Photograph a lot, but I don't think I heard it enough to the extent that on their last album, Someday, I heard that song so many times that I hated that song. Like, just
Probably my favorite song off that album, actually.
I don't know. Like,
One of the two.
even to this day, like when I hear it, I just remember like how much I hated it because the radio overplayed it to death. But I mean, whatever. At least they made a bunch of money off of it, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, Long Road was actually the album that I listened to the most, and it was my first Nickelback album, actually. So.
Oh yeah? No, I had my dad. I don't know if you remember. My dad gave me The State and Silver Side Up. He gave me both of those because he didn't want them anymore, and then that's basically how I got into Nickelback in the first place. And then when this album came out, that's when I kind of decided that they were one of my favorite bands. But yeah, so like they had the 7 singles there, and to boot, there was actually 5 music videos, which is crazy for an album release. Normally, bands don't release more than like 3 music videos at the most for an album, maybe 4. So later on, after the album was already out for, I think it was a year or 2, they actually came out with a special edition of it as well because it was such a big seller. So they put on a few live tracks, and one of those was actually one of their older songs. So it was Never Again, and I don't know, I still love that that live track of that. Yeah, I don't know, it's just really cool to hear it, because like before, when you heard that song live, like before then, Chad's voice was kind of more deeper and like growlier, and then like that one, I don't know, it just sounds more clear to me, so it sounds better.
True.
Yeah, and then like the swearing was in there too, which was awesome. I was kind of surprised. So like the Never Again song was only if you bought it at Walmart, which I didn't know when I was a kid, right? Because you don't look into stuff like that when you're a kid. Plus the internet wasn't what it is today as much. It wasn't easily accessible to find that stuff out, so... Then there was a Japanese edition, which they covered We Will Rock You, originally by the band Queen. And that, I don't know, I love like pumping that song up in the car or whatever. It just gets you pumped up.
I haven't listened to that song in ages.
Really? You still have
that version of that song?
Oh man, I listen to that all the time. Yeah, I don't know. Chad's voice was just kind of... has like a fresh take to the song, and like Nickelback's style is obviously different than Queen is, so yeah, I don't know, it just sounds interesting, and I don't know, I just like the way that they did it. The original version's good too though, but obviously, because that song alone like is used in countless like advertisements and hockey games and stuff like that, so yeah, and then I don't know. So they had tons of awards for this too. So do you remember like in all of them like going on the Juno Awards, and they won like a couple awards actually that year for Group of the Year and Album of the Year, which I guess isn't surprising considering like the amount of hype that album had around it.
Sure, yeah. There's a lot of album awards for this one.
Yeah, I don't know. I remember. I think I watched that when I was a kid, like after school or whatever, and I was pretty excited because they were nominated for multiple things, right? And I was just watching it, hoping that they would win some stuff. I think they were nominated for a Grammy too, though, but they didn't end up winning that, which sucks. But I feel like they should have, especially for like a song like "If Everyone Cared." I'm surprised that like the Grammys didn't go for like a sappier political kind of song like that. Yeah, so like Billboard, they also got awards from them, so they won like Best Album of the Year and they won a couple of different Best Group awards in like some of the rock categories. American Music Awards, they gave them Best Pop/Rock Album of the Year. What else did they win? They got, other than that, like Music Canada, on the charts, they got to number 1 on that, which is really good because like they're a Canadian band, right? So it's kind of a given, I guess, for how popular that album was, that they would eventually reach the top with that. And then Billboard's 200s, they reached the top of the rock charts with that. And then the 200 chart as well, which is that's like quite the feat to do. And then yeah, I don't know, just the album like had so many awards. It's kind of even hard to keep track of. Like I was just doing some research and I was like, holy crap, this album like got more nominations and awards than I even remember.
Yeah.
So but yeah, probably the biggest thing for this album though was in terms of like record sales and streams. So in Canada it went 7 times platinum. So that's 700,000 units. Like that's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Especially just for like one country. I mean, Canada's just, I mean, it's pretty big, I guess, but it's not like Japan or something where we have a crap load of people all over the place. So yeah, that's quite the feat. And then
Diamonds
the final
in the
thing,
States.
yeah, the States. So they it's certified diamond, which is 10 million, and so that includes the streams and then the albums actually sold. So like 10 million albums. Like I don't know, can you imagine like selling 10 million albums? Can you imagine like how much money they actually got from all that?
Crazy amount.
But yeah, so I don't know. That's just like the awards and the stats, if you will, about the album. So yeah, like I think that kind of speaks for itself of like how big and like influential this album had and has for Nickelback even to this day. Like people still love songs off of it, obviously.
For sure.
I think I don't know how many. I can't remember how many songs there was off of like their greatest hits album that came out years later, like a few years ago. I think there was like at least 4 songs out of those 7 songs that were on their greatest hits album. So it's pretty remarkable. But yeah, so let's get into the actual songs themselves and talk about them.
Sure.
Find out why this album was so great. So yeah, let's talk about "Follow You Home" and "Fight for All the Wrong Reasons." First 2 songs on the album. What was your like thinking as you were listening to those first 2 like opening songs?
I mean, I thought it was kind of jumping in a little bit more of the rockier pace, a lot more guitarish in comparisons to if you were looking at the Long Road album.
Yeah.
Listening to it in comparisons, there was a lot of, I would say, heavier guitar in the beginning of the album, and then it kind of went to the lower guitar in the end of the Long Road, and then it kind of just jumped right back in all the right reasons, like where you're jumping in. I found that it was just very, very guitar oriented in the beginning of the album, so that's why I thought of the 2 beginning songs.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know, like I remember listening to it and just so the other thing I should mention too is, so Daniel Adair, this was his first album, with Nickelback after leaving his old band, 3 Doors Down. So like, I just remember like I heard that and then I was kind of worried about how Nickelback was going to sound because like we were so used to just like that normal sound or whatever that they had coming off of the Long Road album and then Silver Side Up. Like they had the same drummer for both those albums, right? And then all of a sudden they didn't have a drummer because I forget what the reasoning was behind that, but basically like Chad ended up kicking out the drummer for reasons. But yeah, and then they got Daniel Adair, and I don't know, I remember I was like, I don't know about this because it could be a bad thing, potentially. Because I mean, I heard Kryptonite before by 3 Doors Down, and I remember I liked that song when I was a kid, and that's a pretty cool song. But yeah, so then like when I popped the album in and started listening to it for the first time, at this point, like I only knew everyone only knew like what Photograph sounded like, right? So
yeah,
because it was the only single that they released before the album came out. and yeah, people liked that song overall. But it was kind of like a radio song, right? So it wasn't like too hard or too soft. It was kind of in the middle. So it's like a typical Nickelback song, I guess. Yeah, and then like when I put this album in, the first two songs, they're like it was pretty hard hitting, like with the drums and stuff, and just I remember like the first thing you hear is kind of the drums there on "Follow You Home," which I kind of liked.
I thought there was more drums in "Fight for All the Wrong Reasons" in comparisons.
Yeah, true.
More drums in the beginning, anyway.
Yeah, and I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny how like. At first I got confused because I was like, wait, the album's called All the Right Reasons, but there's a song that's called Fight for All the Wrong Reasons, so like, what the hell? So yeah, I don't know. If ever I get to meet Nickelback again, because I did meet them once before, but yeah, well, half of them. But I was too chicken to ask them any questions because I don't know, I was just like so in awe. So next time, if I ever meet Chad again, I'll ask him like, what's up with the title like that. Yeah, so like they were the first two openings of the song. I don't know, I feel like they're kind of underrated because those are like the two of the songs that I like that weren't singles on the album. And they just have like a very different feel to them than like most other Nickelback songs did to that point. So I think that's why I like them. And also Billy Gibbons from the band ZZ Top was actually featured on both those songs, I believe, and then also Rockstar, which we'll get to later, in the video as well. But I don't know. I just like the drums in that song for sure. Let's move on to Photograph. You already said that you're kind of sick of it, but I guess by the time the album came out.
I wouldn't even say that. By the time the album came out, I guess I came around to it. But at the beginning, it was probably when I started listening to the album the first couple times. Would have been the least liked song on it. I don't know why. Just something about just the song lyric. But once you get listening to it more, it kind of has that meaning and stuff.
Yeah.
Just because knowing from where, just kind of the idea of growing up in a smaller town.
Yeah, I was going to say, because like that song was kind of more relatable to us being from Fergus, which is like a really small town in Ontario, Canada there. Like it's pretty small. It's growing bigger now, but like back then there wasn't much there, so.
True.
But, yeah, so I guess like we kind of already covered that song, so we'll just go to Animals. So this song.
I was going to say, what can you say about this song? Probably the dirtiest song that Nickelback has ever wrote.
I don't know, like Figured You Out is actually pretty dirty too.
Yeah, but I would say this one is a lot. This one was really their rock puncher of saying, here you go. Like this one was, I would say, Figured You Out had stuff in it, but it didn't have the same, I would just say maybe it's the same music style of the way that they were trying to bring Animals to. It was very, very upbeat, whereas upbeat kind of guitarish / dirty song in comparisons to Figure Out was very much guitar oriented, I would say. And this one was very much like upbeat guitar, drums, everything incorporated with it. And I would just say it's very, very similar to other type of songs, Animals Mating and stuff like that. So
that's very true.
Like you talk about the Bad Touch by the Bloodhound Gang. So
yeah, that song's just, I don't know, that song's terrible to be honest. But yeah, no, I don't know. I remember like because we were kids at the time, so like I didn't even fully understand the song and like how dirty it actually was. I just kind of like, I mean, I liked the song, so I was just singing along to it. But, like half the words I didn't even understand like what Chad was actually talking about until later on.
We wouldn't know anything about that being back in 2005.
Yeah,
but I mean that's I totally agree with that in regards to like it was just a great song, and then it wasn't until you actually listen to the lyrics as you get older, and you're just like, wow, this song is the song is pretty bad in comparison to just lyric wise. But it's not bad and a bad thing. It's just in comparisons to a tone of voice and like how you would be singing about this is not necessarily something that you'd be singing about nowadays. I would say in comparisons.
Yeah, and like, well, Figured You Out, and then this song, and then basically like those two songs kind of made like a trend for Chad to keep writing dirty songs, like at least one dirty song for each album, kind of a thing. So, which is kind of
in comparisons. You go into Dark Horse with SEX.
Yeah, Dark Horse had a couple more, I feel like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I really like the Daniel Deer's drumming in this song too. Like, it's some of his best work, I feel like, in terms of like Nickelback or whatever. I don't know. It's just like the drums were like so fast paced and everything in this song. So
yeah,
it's really good.
It's kind of this. I was gonna say this one was kind of, I would feel, Daniel Deer's breakout song in regards to Nickelback, with him just showing out on the drums. Because I know definitely seeing them in concert twice in comparison when they play the songs, is he's just all over it's just all over the drums. So.
Yeah, I love how like he always does like tricks and stuff with his drumsticks too as he's doing it. He's like flipping them and all this stuff. It's crazy. Yeah, so let's go to the next song. So Saving Me. So that was obviously a single off the album as well. And for me, like, this song, whenever I hear it even now, all I can remember from it is just the music video that went with it, because it was so like powerful. And so basically, like, in the music video, there's a guy that you follow around, and he sees like numbers over top of people's heads, and he has to try and figure out what the heck these numbers are, right? And then by the end of the music video, he figures out that it's his job basically to save somebody, and then he passes on that gift to the person that he saves at the end of it. And I don't know, I just feel like that the message and stuff with that video was very powerful. So like, I think that's why every time I listen to that song, still to this day, I just remember like seeing the music video for it.
True. I was gonna say, this coming and listening to this song. This song was definitely, when I first listened to it, my outstanding bang smash favorite song off his album. Just listening to example. I'll talk a little bit about that in a few minutes. But this, the piano, and listening to our good boy Timmy in regards to listening to him on the piano. So just making everything like that. It was really, I would say it was a really powerful song for me in regards to listening to it. And I still think it's probably one of my favorite Nickelback songs.
Oh yeah,
from their discography so far.
Yeah, you always seem to like the softer songs for sure.
Yeah.
Well, not always, but more so than I do. Whereas I'm all about like the hard-hitting Nickelback songs for the most part, unless I'm in the mood for like a slower.
I was gonna say, just like the piano version of the song, the guitar in the song, just the combination between them, between the guitar solo and the piano solo, and mixed into it was really good. And we can't forget about the boy Timmy.
Yeah, true. Timmy is like a frequent in and out extra member of Nickelback, if you will, while they're on tour, because he plays the piano and does some guitars and stuff like that. So, anyway, we'll move on to Far Away, which was yet another single. I might as well just say that every single one of these songs is a single, because it almost is. So Far Away, I don't know, again, like with the music videos, like for this album, I feel like they had their best work for music videos as well, which is probably part of the reason why like the album did so well too, is just because the music videos, like, along with the songs, like, they were equally as good. So like, they had really good directors and creative people all around working on this album. And I know that like I think his name is Nigel Dick. He did like some of the music videos for this album, and he did some of the music videos in the past as well. For, I think he did possibly Someday, and then How You Remind Me, and Too Bad. So yeah, he did like a lot of the band's breakout songs before, so it makes sense that they stayed with him for some of these as well. But yeah, Far Away is just basically a cute love song about missing the person that you're with or want to be with or whatever when they're not around, kind of thing. And I just remember like the music video is pretty sad. I won't give it away in case you guys haven't seen it, but yeah, the first time I've seen it, I don't know, it was a tearjerker, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's very, very powerful, I would say that.
But the other thing that I remember about this song, so and I don't know if you remember this or not, but so when I went to my grade 12 prom, so you weren't there because you already moved away to Kingston at this point. But yeah, so we went to grade 12 prom, and like I was trying to ask different girls or what, like a couple of different girls, right? And I got turned down every time because I was a loser. But anyway, so yeah, when I went, I ended up just asking one of my friends at that point, and we're not friends anymore, but yeah, so I asked her, and then she said, yeah, sure, whatever. But like it was kind of weird. So like I asked the DJ kind of towards the end of everything if he had any Nickelback songs, right? And I was kind of hoping that he had like a faster paced one, but he was like, oh yeah, all I have is Far Away. And then so I was just like, okay, well, whatever, that's fine, just play it, I guess. And then he told me that he would play it towards the end, right? So I think he played it like the third last song or something like that. It was really close to when everyone was leaving, but yeah, so like me and this friend of mine danced to this song or whatever, and it was just like kind of really awkward because everybody else that was there was like slow dancing with their girlfriends and stuff, and then I was just kind of there with this friend of mine, and it was just really, yeah, kind of awkward. So yeah, I don't know, that's my kind of weird memory with that song, I guess.
I would say this song's very much of a shout out to firefighters and everything like that, and just all our emergency response people that do so much for us and that type of stuff. That's what I found out about the song, was that all the people that help out in regards to saving other people and stuff like that. I would say that's where I would find the hard chords out of this song, was that.
Yeah. For sure, yeah, because they did that in the music video, basically. It was following, like, this firefighter, and the girlfriend was back at home, and she didn't know, like, if he was dead or alive or what, basically, fighting these forest fires. So go watch that music video. It's a sad one, but it's really good. Yep. All right, enough sadness. Let's talk about next contestant, which, fun fact about this song. So it actually was supposed to be on Nickelback's last album in 2003, so the Long Road album, but they decided it didn't fit well with the rest of the songs on that album, so then they just kind of kept it, and then they forced it to this album instead, which I feel like is a good choice, but I feel like it could have fit on that album as well if they wanted it to. But yeah, I don't know, I really liked this song, even from when I was like first listening to the album and everything. That was kind of like those, one of the songs that wasn't a single, but I really enjoyed it, just because like I don't know, just the lyrics are pretty relatable, like about wanting to be with some girl, but you know that you can't, kind of a thing. I don't know, Def Leppard has a song like that too, but I forget what the name of that song is, but yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a relatable song, and like the guitars and stuff in it are really like kind of faster paced, so I think that's why I enjoyed it.
I was gonna say, yeah, this one probably would have matched up better in this album in comparison to the Long Road, I would say. So
yeah, it depends where they would have. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, it depends where they would have put it in the album. If they had to put it like as the second song, maybe, or something like that. But yeah, so we won't go into too much detail about that song, but it's a good song. It's a good, like, average kind of song. So yeah, Side of a Bullet. So there's a story behind this song. I don't know, Jordan, do you remember the story behind it? You want to tell the story?
No, I'll let you tell the story.
All right. So basically, Chad wrote the song about a legendary guitar player, Dimebag Darrell, from a metal band called Pantera, and he also was in a band called Damage Plan. So basically, he was up on stage the one night, and this guy comes up and shoots him for no reason at all. And Dimebag Darrell's brother was actually like up on the stage with him as well. So basically, the song is about how Chad wanted to take matters into his own hands and go and find this guy who shot Dimebag Darrell and quote, put your name in the side of a bullet, meaning that he basically wanted to go out and kill the guy for what he had done to one of his friends. Yeah, and then the song features a really powerful guitar solo, which Nickelback like kind of used from different demos of Dimebag Darrell that were unused up until that point. I don't know. The song itself, like the drums, again, I don't know, Daniel Adair was like on point with those drums. Just like pretty powerful, where it's like dum 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 kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. In comparisons to like Vinnie Paul and everything, Dimebag's brother, he said that Daniel Adair would just do just as well as he could on the drums. So
yeah,
in comparison, so that was a really good thing, I would say, for Daniel Adair to have that like popular bands such as Pantera and the Rock kind of thing, is having someone say that he performed just as well as you could. So it's really good.
Yeah.
I found anyway.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely a good compliment coming from him. But yeah,
also
like
one of my favorite rock songs off his album.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know, like the guitar solo, it really stands out as well, obviously, because it's just Dimebag Darrell just like shreds on that guitar solo for sure. But yeah, it's a really good tribute song, and I think that's like the only Nickelback song that is like an actual tribute to a specific person. Well, that's well known anyways. I mean, Chad could have written other songs that is like tributes to ex-girlfriends or something for all I know, but well, yeah, you remind me, I guess that's kind of like a tribute to his ex who he hated, but yeah, I don't know. So yeah, the drums and like the guitars in this song just, and like you can feel like the anger in Chad singing in this song too, like how mad
you can hear the anger inside the guitar and the drums, that it's very, very deep and very, very to the point where it's getting to the point where it's like seriousness that this happened. It was just
serious.
It's getting serious. It's getting serious up in here. No. And just to go back in regards to how many previous we were talking about how many songs actually came on to the greatest hits for Nickelback Volume 1. It was actually the top. It had 6 tracks in comparisons to any of the other previous albums to their greatest hits or their future albums in comparison.
Oh wow!
So they had actually 6 songs on it in comparisons to anything else from Dark Horse or Silver Side Up or Long Road or Here and Now. So
wow, yeah, that's actually crazy too, because there was only 7 singles, right? So that's almost all of them. But yeah, so let's go on to one of your favorite songs, if everyone cares. You want to explain why it's one of your favorite songs?
Why?
You want?
Because our boy Timmy?
No, like you want to talk about like why it's one of your favorite songs?
Oh, I don't know. I just thought this one was very, very powerful in comparisons. I just liked the aspects of chat. Like it was very, very much a vocal. It was the songs was brought down, but it was very much a vocal song, I would say. But
yeah, again, the music video for this song was pretty powerful too. I just remember the lady at the very end of it, where they had her talking, about like all the rubble and stuff or whatever. It's a very like political kind of song. I don't even know who that lady is at the end of the music video. I forget, but
Let's say this one was very.
I don't know. She's some kind of like politician or something, I guess.
I would say this. I would say that this song really came in powerful because this song came out just after the movie Hotel Rwanda. And I would just say that it was very powerful in regards to, since I really enjoyed the meanings of what happened in the movie Hotel Rwanda. It was terrible, the stuff that happened, but it was a very powerful movie that I just thought about when listening to the song, kind of made me think about the movie in regards to the movie. And just talk about, and I would say this one's very, very powerful in regards to incorporating a lot of things in comparison to anything else of a Nickelback's work, and encompassed a whole bunch of different issues, and it just kind of was relatable just in regards to whether or not it was specific things like world issues or anything like that. It was just kind of brought everything together.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like it was kind of the definitely like the first time that Nickelback took a direction into like the world of politics and stuff like that, for sure. And then they kind of continued that on their albums to come, since this song was so popular, right? But yeah, it's just like a song talking about how if everyone cared about the world, and about like all the men, women, children, war and corruption that goes on like in the world, then maybe like we'd have a day, basically, quote, where nobody died, as like Chad sings about in the song. So yeah, I don't know, just really powerful message behind it.
For sure.
And I can see why they made it a single as well. And this song, actually, I remember at first I didn't actually like it that much because it was so like slow and brought down and not Nickelback's like traditional style. So, and like when I heard it on the radio, I still thought it was like kind of weird. And then it took a little bit for me to kind of like the song as a single. Because I think I remember I was like, why are they putting this song as a single? They should have put either Someone That You're With, which is the next song, which we'll get into, or Next Contestant as like a single instead of this one. But then like now that I look back on it, like, yeah, they were absolutely right to make this song a single, even though it was like a different direction for them. Change is good sometimes, so. Yeah, so we'll talk about the next song. So, Someone That You're With. Again, it's not a single from the album, but I don't know. Sometimes, like, with albums, you almost want them to make it a single, but then I feel like it would kind of ruin the way that you feel about the song. Like, I like certain, with Nickelback especially, like, there's songs where they didn't make them a single,
but they're one of the best songs off the album.
Yeah, exactly. Like, in my mind, like, for instance, on Nickelback's next album after this, they did, on Dark Horse there, Just to Get High is the 6th song on the album, and, like, the guitar solo in that song is one of the best and my favorite guitar Nickelback solos ever, and I don't know, just, like, the message behind that song, too, is a really positive one, so I'm kind of surprised that they never made that song a single, and they have never played it live either, which kind of makes me mad. I wish that they would play it live, because I would love to hear that song live.
It's just very, very upbeat guitar.
Yeah.
Well, I would say this one would be more of a poppier rock song in their album.
What, Someone That You're With?
Yeah, it's got that pop. Yeah. It's got that poppier feel into it, which I would say you never really seen from Nickelback before in any of the previous albums, really.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like, so, I don't know, I just remember, like, this song is relatable, especially, like, when you're a kid, or even as an adult, but I just remember because I was a kid at the time, so, like, I just feel like it was relatable to kids who listen to this song, because, it's basically about, crushing on a girl, and you want to be with them, but you know that they can't because they're already with somebody else, kind of a thing, right? So I feel like that message is just something that kids can relate to a lot, because you think that you're like in this like puppy love or whatever, and you have like a crush on some girl, but you're like too scaredy cat to to go and talk to her and stuff, right? And then like you lose your chance eventually. So
Great song to mix into regards to being in like grade 7
yeah, I know, right?
and coming out of grade 6, and grade
Yeah.
7, and moving into a different school when we moved from Victoria Terrace to JD, meeting a whole bunch of
Yeah.
different new people.
Yeah, because like grade 7 and 8 is kind of like, well, even grade 6, but like more so like grade 7 and grade 8 when you're in middle school there, or at least here in Canada it's middle school. But so yeah, like just going to a different school and stuff like that, and that's when you kind of realize that you want to start having like relationships and stuff with people. But I mean, when you look back at it now, you realize that even
Yeah,
those
well,
are not like real relationships.
no, they're not.
Those don't start until like grade 9 or 10 when you're in high school. But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, just a cool song that wasn't a single on the album, but I liked it a lot. Still do to this day. I'll still jam out to it. But yeah, so let's go to the final song on the album. If you don't include those special songs that I was talking about.
Never gonna win this life.
So yeah, Rockstar.
Be.
This is by far one of the best songs on the album. Just because it's exactly what it says it is. It's a song about wanting to be a rock star and just like singing along. It's a real like ultimate karaoke song, if you
Yeah,
will.
for sure. Anyone can sing along. Anyone can sing along to it. I think
Yeah.
that's why it was so well liked, is that everyone just when it came on the radio, everyone knew how to sing it. Everyone knew what parts were what, and they could kind of make it their own in regards to how they want to be a rock star.
Yeah.
I would say in
And-
comparison to the other songs, but it was really popular in regards to. I would say that would be the most meaning thing, that people were like, "Oh, this is my perfect chance to think of how I could be a rock star by singing this song." So.
Yeah, I remember like when I watched the video, like the behind the scenes documentary thing that was on the special edition of this album. It's the DVD that came with it, and basically they kind of end it with this this girl, and she's like saying how she was singing "Hey Hey, I Want to Be a Rock Star," which is like the lyrics from the song, so loud that like she lost her voice. So yeah, like I don't know, that just goes to show you the power of the song and like how definitely like relatable it is, whether you're a kid or an adult or at any point. If you've listened to music and like probably at some point you've wanted to actually like be a rock star and just imagine that, right? So like that song kind of brings out the kid in everyone. Yeah, and then with that song too, so an interesting fact is Nickelback actually released that as a single, kind of like in the middle of all of the singles that they released, but it didn't actually catch on at that point. So they kind of forgot about it, and then I don't know, I think it was actually like 2 years after the album was even done with. It's like 2 years after it came out, they kind of like breathed new life into it. For some reason, like it just caught on at that point instead of when they actually released it as a single. So then they re-released it as a single much later on.
Mm-hmm.
And then they made the music video for it. And that music video is so epic just because of how many celebrities are in there. Like there's, I don't even
19.
know how many. Oh, is there?
19 celebrities. Anywhere from Dale Earnhardt Jr. to Gene Simmons to Wayne Gretzky.
Yeah, like it was crazy. Like they were all celebrities like who everybody would have known at that point in time, and still know. Like some of them obviously aren't really that popular anymore. And then the cool thing about it too is, so they had the celebrities in there who like are rock stars or maybe wanted to be rock stars, but they have a different profession. But then they put different fans in there lip syncing the song as well, which was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And something that, like, I mean, bands, they try and get their fans, like, involved in, like, music videos and stuff like that or whatever, but sometimes it's hard, so, like, that's really cool. I can only imagine the people that were in that or like, oh yeah, that's like so cool that I was in that music video and you can clearly see it's me. I kind of know how that feels because I was in one of the Simple Plan music videos, which is really awesome. But yeah, so I don't know. It's just really cool feeling, I guess, for those people.
Sure.
Yeah, so I don't know. So let's talk about how you felt about the album back then versus like now. Like, what songs did you like back then when it first came out, and then like give me like a top 3 back then, and then like a top 3 now.
I was gonna say mine's kind of remained unchanged.
Oh yeah.
In comparisons, my kind of favorite songs kind of stuck with the album. So, but give me a sec. I'm just trying to think here.
All right. Well, I'll give mine while you do that. So
yeah.
I guess I would say like maybe Photograph, Animals, and I'm gonna say Rockstar, I guess. I would say like those 3, just because they're most relatable for me. And then, well, other than, I mean, Animals is just a real like kicking song basically. So that's why I like that one. But yeah, the other 2 are like pretty relatable to me and the way that my life was or is. So yeah.
So, I mean, obviously Saving Me was up there. Seems probably one of my favorite Nickelback songs. I would say If Everyone Cared, just for my example from earlier in regards to thinking about that, how powerful that song was.
Yeah.
And then I'd probably go with Far Away, just because I liked the aspect of the slowness. But then it kind of evolved, and Rockstar and Next Contestant, then Side of the Bullet kind of rang through as I started listening to the album more, and I would say those ones kind of jumped up to the top. And I was going to say If Everyone Cared, I kind of stopped listening to, and Far Away stopped listening to, and then kind of got into the rockier style, I guess.
Yeah. And then where do you think like you'd rank this album out of all of Nickelback's like 8 albums or whatever it is? I think they're up to 8 or 9, something like that. I don't know. For me, it's definitely top 3. And then I would actually probably say it's still like their best album overall, just because of the amount of like success and the songs that are on it kind of like shaped the way that they formulated their songs and stuff from there on out. Probably their latest album actually that came out last year is my second favorite.
Yeah, Feed the Machine. Feed the Machine is definitely more of the rock, probably one of the rockiest albums.
Yeah, which is why I like that one a lot.
Of course you would.
But yeah, see that's like what I was saying is usually like I'm more of like the rocky kind of ones, like the balls to the wall kind of songs, whereas you're like on the other spectrum, if you will. Yeah, and then so yeah, I guess we'll close this out, but just another like fun fact. So mine and Jordan's first concert together was actually with Nickelback, not for this album tour, but well, I saw Great Big Sea first, if you want to count that, but technically as like my first concert, but then but it was like in our small town or whatever, so it was like a concert, but it was like a really small concert, so I kind of counted, but kind of not. But yeah, Nickelback was definitely like the first like big show that I went to, and I don't know, I just remember like me, you, and your dad driving down to that, and it was so awesome, and like all the fireworks and stuff that they had there.
For sure. And then smelling all that marijuana, that's terrible, bad stuff at a concert. But
that was so bad. The security guards didn't even come and like do anything about it either.
No. So yeah, for being up in the 300s in the the Rico or the Cops Coliseum, whatever you want to call it now.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh wait, no, it's called Hamilton Place now, isn't it?
something I don't remember.
Yeah, I think that's what it's
Wellington.
called now. But at the time, it was called Coliseum. Yeah, we did that in 2009 for Nickelback's next album after this, which was Dark Horse. But yeah, it had pyro and all this stuff. It was really, really awesome. Anyway, thank you for doing this just before you got to go to work. I should probably let you go because you got to get ready for that.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
For talking
appreciate it a lot,
Nickelback.
man. And yeah, man. Hopefully, at some point, I'll get to do another one later on. I might do like Feed the Machine or something because I really like that album. But we'll see. I'll do a different one before I do another Nickelback one. Don't want to bore the audience with Nickelback.
True.
Anyway, so
All right.
thank you to Jordan for joining me today. Thank you to you guys for listening. I'm going to work on editing this and putting it out for you guys right now. And yeah, have a good rest of your day. I have social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. It's all Will's Music Show. You can search that up and then it should pop up. And yeah, I'm going to try and release stuff from now on at least like once a week, and I'll send the link to you guys so you can click on that. And yeah, have a great day.